Hello, welcome back, friends. I'm so glad you're here. We are going to be doing a very fun class. It's a super fun class, sculpting foods, mini foods. I'm super excited about this for two reasons, because who doesn't like anything tiny? Well, three reasons really. Mini foods are so cute, and food, hello, and fall. I'm so ready for fall, and I want to know if you all are all ready for fall too. And all of these little sculpting foods, pretend foods are fall pretend foods. So we have a s'more. Oh, let's go to the overhead if you don't mind, Chanel. Thank you. So we're going to be making a cute little s'more. We're going to be making a cup of hot cocoa, or you could leave the marshmallows off and pretend it's a cup of cider. So cute. And we're going to be making a pumpkin and a caramel apple. So excited about these. So what you are going to do is we're going to go ahead and gather supplies in a second. You can show us what you came up with. If you would, your adult could find us on Instagram at Learn with Michaels. And you can also find me at La Cozy Casita. I would love to see your final products. So much fun. Okay, so I'm going to take this away and we're going to gather our supplies. I'm going to go down our supply list, and then I have a couple of other things that you can go and gather. So on our supply list, I put this Creatology pack of dough, the sensory dough, but I put two. So if you wanted to just buy this one, that is fine. Some of the colors are not included, like brown. And as you can see, we're using brown. So if you don't have brown, so on the back, there's a little guide on how to add two colors together to make a new color. So we'll be mixing red and yellow to make orange. But Chanel has found an image online that will show you, how to mix colors for other things. So purple, no, it's green and red that make brown. And that's not on the back here, but Chanel also has some other colors there. So, if you get into the groove and you're working ahead of us and you think of something else you want to make, by all means, go for it. Okay. And then if you purchase the bigger pack, like I said, that will have the brown in it already, or it should. Okay. So we have these to get. And then on the supply list, I had, for my little guys, you could use, I'm going to pull up my camera here. For my little guys, you could use this clay toolkit. See, I got my wires mixed up there. There we go. You could use this. And then for my older kids, you could use something like, I think I added a fondant kit on there. I just found this yesterday or a couple days ago at Michael's. This is actually for the clay jewelry making set found at Michael's. Right now they're buy one, get one half off, I think. They're basically like, they're similar to the fondant set. So I grabbed one of these because I know this is the same thing. This one is similar. These three, this is a little rolling pin. So I just grabbed these because I didn't want to grab the same kit I already had at home. And then again, for my older kids, this came out of my fondant kit. This is for my older kids or for someone who has an adult with them, because this is a sharp tool. Okay. This is going to be for cutting or making the grooves on our pumpkin. If you do not have that, you could use a toothpick. Toothpicks will help make these grooves. We'll just indent on the pumpkin with the toothpick. You could see on my s'more, I have little tiny indentions on the cracker. You could make that with a toothpick as well. Also, if you are on your own without an adult near, you could use something like a popsicle stick to cut your clay with. You could use a spatula. Like I grabbed a little spatula and you can cut with that. This is for my older kids. I just grabbed a cheese, not a cheese knife, but it's from a charcuterie board kit. You could use that. Again, that's for my older kids. And then I have 2 bamboo skewers, and that's what I'm using on my candy apple or my caramel apple stick. You don't have that, you can use the toothpick, or you could even cut or snap part of a popsicle stick, because that's really what they use anyway. I just liked that this was so much smaller, so that's what I use. But these are just like kebab skewers. You don't have to have all of this stuff. Just grab what you think would be handy. You know, you could even use a paintbrush. The end of the paintbrush would be a great tool. Just kind of look around, be creative. You could use a pencil. There's lots of different things that you could use that might surprise you that you could use for sculpting. The other thing I would like you to grab is a lid. It's like a CD holder. I put, let's see here. So sorry. I thought I put that on airplane mode, but my timer was going off for some reason. But you, excuse me. So you could use either a takeout lid kit or top, or, you know, this actually came off of a plastic container that I kept like thumbtacks and little paper clips in. I used a phone case, a clear phone case, because what we're going to do is we're going to put the clay underneath here and we're going to help it to round out pieces and smash them down. This is a softer plastic. This will work too. It's just a little flimsier than the hard plastic. So if you still have DVDs laying around your house or CD cases laying around your house, those would be the perfect tool for this. I would not use anything with indentations on them, like this kind of lid. And we're looking for clear, okay, so that you can actually see what you're forming. So even though this is hard plastic, do you see how it's kind of grooved? That's going to make it hard to make a perfect, you know, little mug, because then you're going to have the grooves from the box showing up. So make sure it's kind of just flat, okay? And I think that's it. So I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to gather your supplies. And in the meantime, for those of you who do have your supplies, would you please message us in the Q&A and let us know how old you are? That's always super helpful for me to know who I'm working with. And also, would you let me know if this is your first class with me? How about that? Okay, so 2 things are going to let me know how old you are. This is your first class with me. Okay, I will really appreciate that information. So while you are gathering your supplies, let me make sure everything's kind of in the shot. And again, you don't have to get all of this. Oh, and I have a little work mat. I forgot to mention, I have a little like placemat. I picked these up at Michael's, but you don't have to use these either. So, okay. So while you are writing in the Q&A and gathering your materials, I'm just going to be checking my boxes. And I think some of these, let's see, do they have I couldn't remember if they had a plastic line. Oh, they do. So if you have already gathered your supplies, you can go ahead and start taking off some of the plastic on your containers. The ones that we're going to use right away, I'm just going to lay those out, okay? So orange, white, red. I have a little pink. I'm not sure why I have a little pink out. I'm not going to put that in. Green, I think I used a little tiny bit of black just to get a darker brown color. And I was using a little bit of a purple to make my brown. So these are the colors that I used. If you have brown already, then you don't need to use some of these, okay? You already have brown made. So I'm just going to keep opening, and then I'm going to let Chanel
We have
read.
lots of answers in the Q&A already.
Yay. Awesome.
So we have Jonan 11 and Mimi 65. Aiden 9. This is his first class.
Welcome, Aiden.
Elizabeth 9. Camden is in the 2nd grade, and this is his 4th class. Evie, yeah, and we have Evie 12. Natalie, this is her first class. Holly, first class, and she's 8.
Welcome, Holly.
Alyssa 6, and her mom is with her as well.
Oh, great.
Callie and Carson, who are 14 and 9. This is their first class as well.
I love it when I have our teens joining in too. I think that's so fun.
And then we have Leslie says she's the mother of Frankie, who is doing the class, and he is a special needs young man.
Welcome, Frankie. That's so awesome.
We have Aaliyah, who is 12. And she says she has all of her supplies.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. No. Oh, yeah, she does. Okay. And then Zoe this is her first class. She's very excited.
Welcome, Zoe. I love that.
We have Annika. I hope I'm saying that right. Age 7.5. And she says she's done this class before. So I don't know if it was this specific one or if this is just another class she's doing with you. Adele, who is 11. Oh my gosh, there's so many coming in.
David, I love it. This is giving everybody a chance to gather their supplies. So that's perfect.
We have David, who is 10. This is his first class, and he's very excited for autumn. Paige is 13. This is her second class. Emma says this is her first class, and she's 16. She loves clay and had a new crazy art clay set and a Crayola white air dry clay.
Ooh, cool. You'll have to report back with our you'll have to add us on Instagram and tell us how yours turned out. That's fun.
And then we have a set of cousins who are 10, 9, and 2 6-year-olds.
So fun. I loved living by my cousins when I was little.
We have Penny, who's 10, and this is her first class. Paulette, who is 13, and this is her first class. Zoe says she's 7. And then, and here's the cousins' ages. We have Addie, who's 10, Everly, who's 9, Aiden, 6, and Jed, 6.
Whoa, so fun. Real quick, while you're saying that, I'm just going to tell our friends that I'm going to start mixing my red and my green to make my brown. So I have more red than green. And you can just watch while Chanel is telling us these things too. Go ahead, Chanel.
I'm just going to close out some of these. There are a lot. So I want to make sure I get the ones that I already said out of here really quick.
Because it's going to take a minute for us to knead these colors together. So I'm just grabbing my red and green. And so remember to tell us in the Q&A instead of the chat.
And then, so we have Dion, who's 6, Charlize, 9, Joe, 9, Zach, 8, and this is their first class.
Welcome.
Kalila, 9. This is her second class. I remember her.
I remember Kalila from Texas, I think.
I think you might be right. Cecilia, 5. Clayton, 6. This is Remington and Conrad's first class, 6 and 3.
Oh, welcome, my little friends.
We have Warren, who is 11. Connie is 9. He's in 7th grade and it's his first class. Connie is in 4th and it's her second class.
Awesome. You came back.
I think I'm almost done. All right, we have Liliana, who's 3, because she loves watching miniature videos. And she said she can, and her mommy said she can watch and try it.
Oh, welcome.
We have Teresa from Virginia. And then this is Mimi, Jonan, and Evie's first class that they were mentioned earlier. We have Olivia, who's 8, and Alicia and Mariah, both 7. They are on a play date. And that is it for right now.
That's so fun. Okay, let me make sure that I got that off. Can you still see everything okay, Chanel?
Yeah, it looks good.
Okay, great. Okay, so I have been, welcome everybody. That is so fun and incredibly helpful to me. If we had kids that were 8 and up, we'd basically be giving similar instructions, but since we've got some little guys with us, some 3, 4, 5, and 6-year-olds, they're just starting out with crafting. And so, you know, our more advanced crafters, you know, at any time you feel free to just have at it and make something new. And I'm going to try to stay in the middle, around the middle grades, around like 8, 9, 10-year-olds. But I will be specific for my little guys as well. It is very helpful. So my little friends who are mixing their colors and who are going to be making these might be a little too tiny for you to make. So all you have to do is make them just a little bit bigger. So when you're grabbing your Play-Doh, you see, or your dough, you see how I have this much, you might grab a little more because it'll be easier for you to make the shapes when they're a little bigger. Okay. And so for my older friends, you're going to have it's going to be easier for you to make the smaller items. And, you know, you guys might even want to do like 3 sizes, like the 3 little bears, one for mama bear, one for papa bear, and one for baby bear. So, you know, you might see that, you know, the little ones are just a little challenging for you. So you can just make it a little bigger. Okay. All right. So as you can see, this is starting to look more like a brick red. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of black, a little tiny bit. And you can grab it with your fingers or you can grab your tools. See, I hardly have any at all because that black's going to go a long way while mixing my colors. And so I'm just smashing it between my fingers, just mixing it and kneading it. And you can see it just starts to turn a little. I can still use a little more. You could even use a little bit of purple. I'm just trying to get a brown color. Now, just like in the grocery stores, there's different shades of, we're working on our graham cracker. That's what we're going to do here first. So, or our little s'more. So in the grocery stores, there's all kinds of shades of brown, just like bread. There's all different shades of brown. So if you can't get the exact brown that you want, it's okay. Just make it the best that you can. There's no grade in this class. No one's going to tell you you did it wrong. It's just fun to be together and be working on these crafts. Okay. So just get it to where you kind of like the color. And then you can make it lighter or darker. You can see, I'm going to come down a little bit. Okay. Let's see. Let me come down a little bit closer and I'm going to clear my space for you. Okay. I had everything laid out so that you could see, but now I just don't want it to be distracting. So I'm going to clear out a little bit of space. Okay. There we go. There. So you can see our colors are starting to change. We have our chocolate piece. So this is I do kind of like this for my chocolate piece. You know what? I had this left over from last time, and I'm just going to go ahead. Let's see. I'm going to pull off a little bit of this for my chocolate. Okay. It doesn't matter how much, it's whatever you want. Okay. It's however big you're going to make your piece of chocolate. And this is going to be plenty, but I like to have extra just in case I make a mistake. So I'm going to set that aside. And now I'm going to work on my graham crackers. So I want my graham cracker to be a different color than my chocolate. And I can see the difference in color here, but I think it's probably a little more difficult for you to see it on the computer. But I have 2 shades of brown here. I have, just like when we make s'mores, right? Your chocolate is a little darker and your graham crackers are a little lighter. So what would we use to make our graham crackers a little lighter? A little bit of white. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to grab a little bit of white, and then I'm going to add it to my brown that I've started. Now, if you already have brown, you are in good shape. You don't have to mix these colors. But in the future, if you have some colors, this is a good little teachable moment here, because you never have to get upset if you don't have the right color, because you can mix colors and that'll help you out. So I'm going to add just a little more white. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and add, if you wanted to add, see how this is kind of looking a little more, like a little more brick red than I like. You just play with your colors. So I could add just a tiny bit of black to it. Just play and just add a little bit of it at a time, especially if you're using the dark colors. Just use a little bit at a time, okay? And then you're just kneading it together. All right? And you're just mixing. It's kind of fun. It's kind of therapeutic a little bit. Like if you had a stressful day at work or school, that's why they call it sensory dough, I guess. Okay, so I'm going to add a little more. I'm almost ready to stop. A little more white.
Emma says this is so fun.
Isn't it, Emma? Emma, I have been looking so forward to this class. This one was so, you know what? I think we had over 300 people sign up for this class. So I think I'm going to have to do another sculpting class. You guys can let us know if at the end, if you wanted to do another one, like maybe in the winter time, or that would be kind of fun. Anything mini is just the best. Okay, so I'm going to stop here. I have a difference between my chocolate and my cracker, and that's really what we're looking for. We're just looking for brown, and we're looking for 2 different shades, enough that you can tell where your chocolate is, okay? And you know what? Since I have this from before, I'm just going to mix this in just because I have it. So I just kept it in my little container. So I have to tell you that I made this class 7 weeks ago. So we hand in our lesson plans 7 weeks ahead of time. And so look at how good my little foods still look. They're just now starting to get a little dry or a little white, but 7 weeks is a long time for them to still look pretty good, I thought. So these should last you. I've just had them on my bookshelf behind me because I just think they're so adorable. So I've just been kind of watching them a little bit. Okay, are y'all ready? We've got our chocolate. We've got our graham crackers. Now we need what? Our white for the best part. It's the marshmallow. Are you guys so excited to start making s'mores in real life? Like when fall comes, I cannot wait. I'm going camping this weekend. And you can bet we're going to have s'mores. Okay, all I'm doing with this white is I'm just starting to knead it again because it's kind of cold. It's just been sitting in the container. So get out a little piece, just start kneading it. This is what kneading means. It's just kind of getting it warm. So for my little guys, if this is hard for you to do, look, you can do it. You can do it on the table like this. You just smash and roll and smash. And since we're doing mini foods, all you have to do is use your little fingers. You hardly even have to use your whole hand. So I'm just pushing it down to the middle, coming from the outside, and I'm pushing it down in the middle. That's it. And there's no real wrong or right way to do it. If you start to get crumbs, see this little tiny crumb right here? All you have to do is pick up your Play-Doh or your dough and push it down and it grabs it. That's all you have to do. Okay, so we are ready to rock and roll now, guys. We've got our 3 components of our s'more. So everybody's hopefully with me. We are going to take our plastic. Let's see. Let's do our cracker. Okay, so I'm rolling it between my hands here. Okay, I'm just going to roll it. And if you use, let me make it into like more of a ball shape. So my little guys, take your 2 hands, put the dough middle, or this is called your palm. Put the dough in the palm of your hand, and you're just going to keep this hand still, and the hand on top, you're just gonna, it's almost like you're washing the table. You're just going in a circle here. That's the first skill in sculpting. Just making a little circle. See? It just makes a perfect circle. You just keep going. I'm going to pull up just a little bit with my camera. You're just going to keep going. You can do it between your hands. You can do it down here on the table, whichever way you prefer. Okay? So now that you have that, and if you have a little bit of creases in it, it's okay. But if you don't want the creases, just keep rolling. But you're going to have some creases in it, okay? It's hard to get them completely out. Okay, so there's it looks like a ball right now, but watch what we do. So you're going to take your hard plastic and make sure you have your other dough out of the way. And you're gently going to push down, not super hard and not super fast. It's the Goldilocks effect. It's just right. Do you see what's happening? It's getting bigger because it's spreading out. I'm pushing. And then as you get closer, now if I just push on this side, it's going to get thinner on this side and it's going to be still thick up on the top. So you're applying even pressure with your fingers. So you can push in the middle. And you're trying to get it, you don't want it paper thin, okay? But you want it thick enough. This is the perfect thickness for me. Do you see this? How thick would I say this is? This is probably about the thickness of a nickel. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. Let me just a little bit more. There we go. Okay, and if you made a mistake, guess what? This is dough. You can do it over again. No big deal. Okay, now little kiddos, and if you bought this tool, you could use your little pizza cutter, or you could use this little like plastic curvy knife. You have that. For my bigger guys who have tools, this would be a good time to use your spatula or your charcuterie like cheese plate. I'm going to use, let's see, you could use this. The reason why I like to use these bigger pieces is because they're wide. So I'm going to be able to cut straight across, and that's kind of what I like. But you can totally cut all the way across with one of these. I want to do it in one fell swoop. So what I'm going to make is I'm going to make a rectangle. I'm going to scooch my mat over a little bit to get it more in the frame. Okay, I'm going to make a rectangle. So I'm making sure everything's kind of out of the way. And I am going to just push down, set this aside, and then I'm going to come down here and push down. Okay. So I took off the top of the circle and I took off the bottom of the circle. And I didn't wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. I just went straight down until I could feel I was hitting the mat. And then I just kind of pushed it aside just a tiny bit so it could release. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing on the side. So I'm going to try to match my corners. I'm going to completely do you see how this is curved here? I want to get rid of that curve because graham crackers are square. So I'm just going to go straight down. And then I just kind of moved it aside like this. I didn't scrape it. I just kind of flicked it aside. And then it came off on my cheese knife. Again, this isn't sharp. That's why it's a cheese knife. And then just down again. Okay. So can you see how this kind of goes off to the side? I'm just going to straighten it up. Now for my older friends, you could definitely use a ruler and you could measure these out. Like if you wanted this to be a perfect rectangle, you could absolutely measure it out and make sure you have, 2 inches by 2 inches by 1.5. You could do that if you wanted to. That's a challenge for my older friends. You do not have to do it. I'm just kind of eyeballing it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going down the middle because I'm trying to make a top and a bottom. Okay. The other thing I want you to think about while you're making this is think about the size of your s'more and how much chocolate you made and how much marshmallow you made. Okay. So you're kind of trying to gauge that with size. Okay. So this is going to go straight down the middle as best as I can get it. Again, it's okay if it's not perfect, but if you want it perfect, measure it out. That didn't go straight down. So go one more time. There we go. When you lift it up off your mat, this is for my young friends and my older friends. Be careful. I'm going to show you on this. When you're pushing down, it kind of sticks, right? So be careful not to kind of put your finger under it because then you're going to kind of ruin the shape that you made. You just have to be super delicate while lifting. I just kind of like to use my nails to kind of lift it up a little bit. Okay. But if you did end up, molding it, you can just fix it by straightening it out like that. Okay. All right. So now we're ready to make the little circles, the little dots, the little air holes. So this might be too fine. Let me zoom in. This might be too fine. So if it is, I'm going to go to the toothpick. Yeah, I'm not going to go all the way down. I'm just barely going. You know what? I'm going for the toothpick. Okay, I'm going to use my toothpick and I'm just pushing down a little bit. I want to make sure that you get that in the middle there. Don't go all the way down to the bottom, just part of the way, and then just a little circle. So 1, 2, 3. And then just keep doing that. 1, 2, 3. You know how they have the graham crackers? It's really just 4 on each side, but we're just going to say we're making a double graham. Have you guys ever made gigantic s'mores? We're making a mini s'more, but hey, this fall you can make a gigantic s'more. I'll be like, this is what I did with my mini foods. Because really, the graham cracker, I think it's like, it just has the 4, doesn't it? Or for those people who are really good and you want to make an even tinier one, you could go, whoop, cut it in half, and there's another s'more right there. I'm going for the middle sized. So you can see that this one's bigger than the one I made before. That's okay. This could be a good color for the chocolate too, couldn't it? 1, 2, 3 across. So remember, I'm not going all the way down. I don't want to feel the table. I don't want to go through much. I'm not going all the way down because now I'm going to move my whole Play-Doh and to get the shape you want. It's going to go all the way through. So just barely go about halfway through. I'm barely putting the tip of my toothpick in. So it goes in, I give it a little swirl. And if you have a tool, if you don't have any toothpicks and you have this kind of tool, you're just going to do the same thing. Put it in and give it a little swirl. You're just making that hole a little bit bigger. 1, 2, 3. There we go. See, it works just the same. All right. Again, if you want this to be perfect and you're my older crafters experience, you could for sure measure these out. You could actually grab a graham cracker for inspiration and see what they look like. Okay. All right. Look at how cute. It's already looking so cute. Okay. I also like to grab a spatula for this kind of thing too. Just kind of lifting it up gently. Let me grab it from the bottom. See how gentle I'm being with it? Grab it from the bottom. There we go. Okay. So now it is chocolate time. All right. Grab your lid. I still have to move these guys out of the way, I think. I'm going to put them up here so you can still see them, but it's time for chocolate. Again, if you wanted your graham crackers to be a little lighter, you could just add more white. All right. So I am going to be mixing my chocolate. So you could, if you don't have a lid, you could just use your hands. The lid is going to be very helpful though. So anything flat and clear, if you really absolutely cannot find anything clear, you can use something that you can't see through, but you'll just have to lift it more and just kind of see where you are. Okay. That's why I like the clear. So you can just kind of see how far you've pushed down, how big your object is going to be. Okay. So I'm just kind of going in a circle. I'm holding my lid and I'm just moving it around in a circle and I'm just barely putting some pressure on it. Okay, I'm going to push down until I get the thickness that I want. And I'm going to say, look, I made my s'more so big that I didn't even out. I'm going to cut my cracker a little bit because I want you to be able to see my chocolate. So I'm going to trim it. That's the great thing about crafts, you guys. Have to be exactly like mine.
Elizabeth, I was going to say, before you trimmed it, the size and shape of what you made for the graham cracker actually looks like it would be good for the cookie of an ice cream sandwich.
Oh, totally. That would be so cute to make you are absolutely right, Chanel. That looks like an ice cream sandwich. Okay, now we have some more inspiration. If there's anybody out there who's still hanging on to summer, make yourself an ice cream sandwich. That's so cute. Okay, there we go. Let's see. Are these guys the same size? Yep. And if they're not, just trim it down a little bit, but that's good enough for me. Okay, move these guys. They're so cute. Okay, here is our chocolate. All right. So did you see how I was just kind of holding it up there? I just wanted to make sure that I made it to the right size. Okay. So of course, it's going to go under the cracker, but I wanted to make sure that it's a good, decent size that you're still going to see it. Okay. And now I'm going to cut it. And it's just going to be a rectangle, just like we did before. You're cutting off the top and the bottom, and then the two sides. You're just cutting off the curves. See? And if it's not how you like it, you can just kind of push it together or trim it a little bit. That's why it's called sculpting.
Emma said that she made her chocolate longer and stretched it out so it looks melted.
Oh, I love that idea, Emma. What a good idea. It's cool. Okay, I'm ready to flip this cracker, and I'm going to put my little chocolate on there. Isn't that cute? Okay, it's marshmallow time. You guys ready? Move this out of the way. Move this up. Just waiting for your marshmallow. Okay. So warm up my dough again. Okay, now this time, instead of making a circle, I'm making kind of more of a cylinder. Okay, so you can make a snake, kind of, but don't go quite so long. Okay, so let me move this out of the way so I can see what I'm doing here. Okay. There we go. I just want to see how thick I need to make it and how short. I don't want to go too long, and I don't want it to be too high. So I think I'm going to cut off some of this. I don't need all of that. But if you want a big mamma jamma marshmallow, you can have it. You know those, they make those square marshmallows now? So cute. Okay, so you know what happens to a marshmallow, right? Look, it actually looks like a marshmallow. Do not eat this, people. This is not edible. I know it looks real and all, but it is not. Okay, so I'm going to smash it just a teeny tiny bit because I need for the lid to go on without falling off. I don't want my lid to roll off, my cracker lid. So I'm giving it a little bit of a smash, just a tiny bit. So see how I made it more flat now? And that's what happens with the marshmallows anyway, right? Okay, so down it goes. Oh, so cute. And then there we go. Whoa, it's a double decker. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just barely going to smash it together. Just barely. You don't want to undo all the work you just did, and you don't want your circles to go away. So I'm just barely pushing down just enough to get it, get all of it to smush together. Isn't that cute? Love it. So fun. I can't wait to see yours.
Zach said that he added 2 marshmallows to his.
Ooh, Zach, my kind of guy. Yum. I love that. Okay, so I want to know, are you guys team burn the marshmallow, put it in the fire, let it burn, or do you like the just to toast it? I like a golden. All right, that was the hardest one. So now these aren't going to take any time at all. We're going to get going because, I always do this to myself because I just have so much fun with you guys. Okay, so we're going to move on to our mug. So you're going to get more white. And this is so easy. This is kind of why I started with the hard one first, because the other ones are going to be so simple. Okay, let me get a little more white. There we go. Cute. I just love this guy. So cute. Okay, go ahead and knead it up. Get it warm a little bit. Okay, now we're gonna roll it just like we did with the marshmallow. We did with that. Okay, remember I said not quite a circle, it's more of a cylinder. So a cylinder is like a soda can, a glass, let me see, what are some other cylinders? Marshmallow is a cylinder. So it's kind of like a circle on the top and a circle on the bottom. Remember I said it's kind of like you're making a snake, but you don't go that skinny. Okay. Like a pen is a cylinder. And you want this to be about the same width. So if you're doing this and you're chunkier on this side than this side, that just means you're pushing harder on the side that's smaller than the other side. So you just kind of want to give yourself a little more pressure on the other side, okay? You guys, this is literally all you have to do to make a mug. Okay, I'm trying to just get some of the wrinkles out. Okay, so now the size that I want to make my mug right here. When I was making this before, I was like, oh my goodness, it looks like a little marshmallow already. Okay, so do you see how that kind of smashed? Totally fine. All you do is you're just going to rework it, flatten it out a little bit. Take this guy and you're just sculpting it. You're making it round. I'm not pushing on this. I'm barely pushing on it. Barely giving a little pressure. Okay. And then I'm going to watch what I do. I'm going to lay it like this, the cut side down. I'm going to push a tiny bit. That's going to give me my mug. See that? Okay. And now I'm going to take the tiniest little bit. Ooh, I'm going to go even skinnier than that because I'm making my handle now. Okay. Tiny. This is the time to make the snake. Okay. Or like a little worm. You want it to be thick enough that it's going to give you a handle. So if you have to push in the sides, you can push in the sides. And then you're just going to attach it. So I can tell that's going to be too long. I'm just going to, look at this. I'm not even using my new tools. I'm just using my spatula here. And then look, you just make like a little rainbow. See? You just push it to give the handle. Now for the top, and if you're just now opening your sensory dough, it'll stick a little better. Mine has been open for about 7 weeks, so it's a little more dry. Okay, now we get to if you had leftovers from your handle, keep kneading it out or rolling it out just like this. Now watch, this is so easy. You're gonna make 2 marshmallows. This is the easiest part. You're just gonna slice it, boop. Slice again. There's 1 marshmallow. Are these not the cutest little marshmallows you've ever seen? So tiny. Okay, there's my 2 little tiny marshmallows. You just can't help but laugh. Like I just laugh when I see these things because they're so cute. Okay, I'm gonna add white with brown now because I'm making my hot chocolate. Or if you don't want marshmallows, you can just make it into hot cider because that's a drink. That's actually one of my favorite fall drinks to make. So I'm mixing black or brown and I'm mixing white. So I'm going and you can even make it swirly if you wanted to because hot chocolate can be swirly once you mix the marshmallows in with it. Ooh, I think I'm going to leave it like that just because when the marshmallows melt into the hot chocolate, doesn't it look swirly? Or when you have hot cocoa, whipped cream with cider, it looks swirly. Okay, I need less than this because what I'm making is I'm making my top here. So I need about half of that because when I push it down, I want it to be the size of the mug. So look at how tiny, it's like smaller than a pea. Okay, push it down like a little green pea. Push it down, make your circle, and see how big you want to make it. You want to make it just about the size of the mug. Okay, remember how we pushed down just a tiny bit with the s'more? Just a tiny bit. There. And now add your tiny, tiny little marshmallows. These are almost getting too tiny for me to touch. They're so cute though. I'm going to push down a tiny bit just to get them to stick. And there's our cute little hot cocoa mug. Okay, you ready for apple? So easy. Just making a circle, a ball. Do it in between your hands, like this. Just making a ball. This is going to be the inside of the apple because apples are white on the inside, right? Then if you want a red apple, you can grab a red apple. If you want a green apple, you can grab green dough. Red, green, yellow, whatever color you want. I'm doing red just because, but you know, this is a candy apple. You know, it has the harder shell. But if you wanted to make a caramel apple, you could use your brown again. All right, so now this one, you can either roll out rolling pin or use your lid again. And so what you're gonna do, roll, 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 and you're gonna push down. Remember, you're using even pushing. Now with the lid strategy, it's harder to get super, super thin. So this is when you can get it really, you don't want it like paper thin, but what we're doing is we're gonna lay this around our circle, okay, our ball. So I'm just laying it down. So I made sure that it was big enough. I even think that's a little too small, but let's see, or too big. Let's see how we do. Because you want to be able to actually like drape it around. It's a tiny bit too big. So all I'm going to do is just trim. And the great thing about this is that you're not really going to see it. Just trimming a little off there. I'm still going to trim off because I don't think I got it quite thin enough. There we go. So you know how when you dip the candy apple and then it just kind of like gathers on the bottom, all that yummy, or if you did caramel, all the yummy caramel, it's so good. Okay, now you grab your skewer or your toothpick or your popsicle stick, and you're just gonna cut off some of it or just snap it off. I just snap some off, just the top, and I'm gonna put it right through the middle. And if you want a shorter stem, snap it off closer to the end. If you want a longer stem, leave it long. It's your choice. You can make it how you want. But the great thing is you can always undo it. So I think I'm gonna do a little smaller. There we go. And then in it goes. Cuteness. You love it. I love it. Okay. See, I told you that one was so easy. Making a ball of dough, just rolling out a circle, laying it on top, and sticking the top in there. Isn't that crazy easy? So even if you cut this, you could see it would look like an apple on the inside. So cute. Okay, the last one is pumpkin. And pumpkin's so easy too. All you're doing is grabbing a piece of Orange. You guessed it. We're making a ball again. I like to start with the harder one sometimes because then you can rock and roll and do a whole bunch. It's like all the teaching happens on the first activity or project, and then the rest you already know how to use the tools. I want to know if you guys are making other things too. Okay, so go ahead.
Sorry, I was just we had a couple comments with some creative ideas that I wanted to share. For the hot cocoa, Leslie said making a peppermint stick and placing that inside the hot cocoa would be a cute idea.
Yes.
Adele said she made whipped cream for her.
Like a little spiral on top.
And Paulette said you could add sprinkles to it too, which I think she meant the candy apple, but I think you could do for the hot chocolate as well.
Totally. Who doesn't love a sprinkle? Those are great ideas. So creative. All right, all I have is my orange ball, and I just am making a big, long green snake. That's it. Ooh, look what I just did on accident. It made like a spiral. That was cool. Okay, look at that. As it comes off, it makes a spiral, you guys. Look. Ooh, that's cool. That looks more like a vine. I'm keeping that. Don't you love it when things happen by accident? Okay, so this is how we make the pumpkin. You just smash it down just a tiny bit. Okay, you're going to grab your tool, give an indentation. One, and I'm going from the top to the bottom. So I'm starting at the top and I'm rolling it. You could do this with a popsicle stick. Start at in the middle here. Roll the pumpkin until your tool gets to the bottom of the pumpkin, top of the pumpkin, bottom of the pumpkin. See? And then it just makes it look like a little tiny pumpkin. Some you might have to indent just a little bit harder. This one's perfect. I love that side. Because if you push on it with your finger, it'll make that indentation go away. So you just go back and just make it go, just indent it a little more. Okay. All right. Now we're just adding a little stem, and class is almost over. I can't believe it. Time flies every time. Just cut that off and add your stem. It's so cute. Now I wanted to keep that, but I want it to be thinner. So I'm pushing a little more. See my unintentional spiral? I love it. I'm just letting it come off. You guys, I think we're going to have to do another sculpting class because this has been my favorite one yet. I'm making like a little vine coming off of it. Yay! Yeah. Okay, so we made our s'more, cutesy little hot cocoa, our caramel apple, and our cutesy little pumpkin. You guys, please find me on Instagram. Show me what you made. I want to know. I know you guys are making more things. Please show me who's making some more things. Show me there at La Cozy Casita. Find Michaels at Learn with Michaels. Show us your little creations. So fun. You guys, this has been my favorite class so far. I have loved this. We definitely have to do another one. I love the turnout. We had a giant group of people with us. Such fun. And I hope you had a blast. If you have someone that missed this class, or would you would you grab me? There you go. Chanel's like, she knows what I'm thinking already. If you have a friend that missed this class and they really wanted to be a part of it, or if you just wanted to join again, or if this was your first time taking this and you're like 3 or 4 and you want to learn and maybe you only got to do one thing, you can watch this on YouTube. It will be up in 24 to 48 hours on the Michaels YouTube channel, and I hope you will watch it there. I have some other classes there, and I usually teach one class a week. So You know what? I didn't even prepare. I think next week we are painting a canvas, I think, but I have to double check. But you can check the Michaels app and it'll show all the classes that I'm teaching. I teach a majority of the kids' classes. And again, I'm Elizabeth Barrick, and I hope you will join me for my next class. I had the best time with you guys, and I will see you next time. Bye.